Who's there?
Don't take one single step, all right? Huh?
What are you doing, you old man? I'll f***ing shoot you!
What are you, blind and deaf all of a sudden? You better stop! Just let me walk.
It's early in the morning and a wounded young girl is being dragged across the ground by a strange old man who's holding her by her hair. Back to a few days earlier, and the same girl is breaking into a lavish mansion with two other guys. The house is equipped with a high-tech security system, but Alex, the introverted genius of the group, quickly shuts it down. He seems totally nervous, warning the others to keep the total take under $10,000 and avoid taking cash.
Yeah, whatever, Judge Judy, come on.
The girl goes by the name Rocky, and she can't stop herself from trying on the owner's pricey clothes. Then there's Money, the wild card of the group who's as reckless as he is stubborn. He makes fun of Alex every chance he gets and even starts doing things that would not be considered burglary by any standard. This Detroit trio targets houses in the city's quietest neighborhoods and burglarizes them when the time is right. Their key advantage comes from Alex's father, who works at a security company called Liminal and has access to keys for homes with their security systems. Alex takes a big risk by sneaking into his father's room and grabbing the needed key, but only under strict conditions. No cash can be taken, and the stolen item's total value must stay under $10,000. Keeping it under that limit means they're playing it safe, avoiding the kind of big-time crime that could land them a decade behind bars if they get caught. After they leave the house, Rocky tells Alex in the car that she plans to move to California with her boyfriend, who is none other than Money. She even invites the latter to join them. Alex is clearly upset by Rocky's decision since he has a secret crush on her, but he says he can't leave his father alone and turns down the offer. Afterwards, Money heads to meet Paul, their guy who buys the stolen goods and helps them scout out new targets. The payout is already small, and after Paul takes his 40% cut, there's practically nothing left for the three-field man. When Money complains about the low returns, Paul explains he can't sell the stolen items for more and says,
"You want money? Then steal money."
To act on this idea, the next house Raoul suggests is one with nothing but cash. When Money fills the others in, he casually adds that the house belongs to a lonely old man whose daughter tragically died in an accident years ago. A wealthy girl ran over his daughter, and the man ended up with a large settlement, over $300,000 according to Money. When Alex hears the amount, he instantly says no since it's way over his $10,000 limit. He warns that taking so much cash could get the police involved, which would put his dad at risk. Despite this, Rocky tries to persuade him with that classic pre-heist line.
If we do this right, we never have to do it again.
We're not doing this one.
Alex starts checking out the target house and finds out that the old man living there is a Gulf War veteran. Later, Rocky sends him a message begging him to reconsider and reminding him why she's doing this. Rocky lives with her little sister and their terrible mom who just moved her boyfriend into the house. Even though Rocky is the one keeping the family afloat, her mom can't seem to hold back on the rude comments.
Your lips look sore. That's how you're making your cash out there?
All Rocky can dream about is leaving this terrible situation behind and starting over in sunny California with her sister. Finally, Alex sends the long-awaited "Let's do this" message. The moment Rocky reads it, she turns to her sister and promises her that they'll be heading to California soon. The team starts watching the target house closely. This part of the city has an eerie ghost town vibe. Abandoned homes everywhere, making their job seem a bit simpler since no residents means no police patrols. Money tells the others that the old man hasn't left his house for 5 days, so he proposes they make their move that night. Meanwhile, Alex tells Rocky that he has changed his mind about not moving to California and wants to join her after the heist. Just then, a fierce Rottweiler jumps onto their car out of nowhere and startles them. Turns out the angry dog belongs to their intended target, the old man himself. They notice that the man is blind, and Money explains that he lost his sight in the war, courtesy of a grenade splinter. Later that night, around 2 a.m., they tiptoe back into the neighborhood. They start by slipping the dog some drug treats, which puts him to sleep. When they reach the front door, they notice it has 4 locks, and the key Alex took from his dad only opens one. They look for a side door or another way in, but every entry is tightly locked and bolted from the inside. Eventually, they discover a small window that only Rocky can fit through. Even though Alex worries about her safety, Rocky climbs in and disables the security system using a remote Alex gave her. Alex and Money are waiting outside when they suddenly get into an argument.
Slow your roll, fool. She must have got it by now. She's fine.
Yeah, like you really give a
What'd you say? That's my bitch in there. Of course I give a Be a good friend and stay in the f***ing friend zone, aight?
Once inside, they begin searching the house for cash. The floorboards creak loudly, and parts of the place are rigged with homemade motion detectors that set off alarm bells, so they have to take off their shoes and move cautiously. Money sneaks upstairs to the old man's room to render him unconscious. He finds the man asleep with a video of his late young daughter flickering on a nearby screen. What Money doesn't know is that the old man has a revolver stashed under his bed. Just as Money is about to prepare the sedative gas, he notices that the blind man has woken up, seemingly staring right at him. After a few heart-pounding seconds, the old man drifts back to sleep, letting Money release the gas unnoticed. He comes downstairs, and the three of them spot a door with a bolt. They believe the money is hidden behind it. Money pulls out a gun, assuming the blind man is asleep, and shoots the bolt off the door. Nervous that carrying a gun gives the owner the legal right to fire back, Alex decides to leave. He urges Rocky to join him, but she's too stubborn to budge, so he grabs his shoes and heads for the exit alone. Money and Rocky get the door open, but suddenly the blind man appears, his voice trembling as he asks who's there. Stunned and silent, they freeze. After a moment, Money tries to respond, first making up a lie, then telling him the truth and threatening him. Desperate, he fires a warning shot to intimidate the man, but it doesn't work. With swift, unexpected strength, the blind man grabs the gun from Money, who starts begging for his life. Yet the vet remains unmoved and shoots him in the head. Standing nearby, Rocky barely dares to breathe. She quickly slips into a closet, pressing a trembling hand over her mouth to muffle her cries. After hearing gunshots, Alex heads back into the house, nearly bumping into the blind man but quickly dodging him. The blind man seems to sniff his way around the place, locking up the front door and blocking off the broken window. Alex hides in the bathroom, and soon the blind man enters as well, but he doesn't notice Alex there. The guy begins texting Rocky, and she tells him where she's hiding. Before he can reach her, the blind man goes into the closet, pulls away a piece of drywall, and exposes a safe. He enters a code which Rocky can see clearly and checks to make sure the money is still there. Satisfied that it hasn't been touched, he closes the safe and leaves, completely unaware that Rocky is also hiding in the closet. Afterward, Alex joins Rocky in the closet and suggests calling the police. Rocky disagrees, goes on to open the safe and grabs the money. Alex is frozen in place, thinking there might be $1 million inside. Now that they have the cash, finding a way out becomes their biggest challenge. Since the front door is locked, they decide to try the strange bolted door, hoping it leads through the basement to a hatch outside in the yard. Just as they are about to go through the door, the blind man suddenly appears from inside. They freeze, staying completely silent as they watch him drag Money's body away. Alex tries to move away from him, but the floorboard creaks. The blind man's sharp senses of smell and hearing seem to make up for his lack of sight. He lifts his gun and points it toward the noise, but Rocky and Alex stay completely quiet. After a tense moment, he goes back to what he was doing, giving them enough time to slip through the door. He still doesn't realize they're in the house until he later stumbles upon their shoes. He immediately goes back to check the safe, furious as he realizes the money's gone. As Alex and Rocky search the basement, they're horrified to discover a girl tied up with heavy-duty ropes. When she moves a bell attached to her rings, alerting the blind man that something's happening in the basement. The girl then shows them an old newspaper clipping, and Alex and Rocky realize she's the one who ran over the blind man's daughter. Despite this, Rocky decides to help her. They use the keys they found in the basement to try to escape through the hatch, but the blind man is already waiting for them. He opens fire, instantly killing the bound girl, while Alex narrowly escapes with only a graze on his ear. Alex and Rocky start to run away, while the blind man calls for his baby, saying the baby is dead and holds the lifeless body of the girl. After securing the hatch so it can't be opened even with keys, the blind man turns off the power and begins searching for them. He fires his gun every time he hears a noise, but is unable to hit either of them. Without any lights, Alex and Rocky struggle to see. Rocky almost bumps into the blind man, but narrowly escapes. Eventually, the blind man catches Alex. However, when he tries to shoot, the gun is empty, allowing Alex to escape from being choked by the man. When they go back upstairs, they see that the Rottweiler is wide awake and waiting for them. The dog chases them on the second floor and traps them in a room. Some windows have bars on them, while others are just covered with wooden boards which they do not notice. It seems like there is no way out. Meanwhile, the blind man catches up to them and is outside of the room with his dog and his revolver. Rocky and Alex try to find a way to escape when she sees a vent on the wall. He instructs her to go through it while he blocks the door. As she crawls into the vent, the old man and the dog burst into the room and attack Alex, causing him to fall through a window and land on a skylight 1 level below. Back in the room, the dog tracks Rocky through the vent by her scent and chases her. In a panic, she jumps into a vertical shaft to get away. Meanwhile, Alex wakes up and sees the blind man aiming his gun at him. The man fires but misses and breaks the window, sending Alex crashing to the first floor. Alex runs again, but the blind man catches him in the room where he keeps his gardening tools and where he hid Money's body. Even though Alex tries to fight back, the blind man knocks him out and stabs him with a pair of giant gardening scissors. Rocky wakes up in the shaft, feeling hurt and sore. With no other option, she begins crawling through the vents again. Soon she sees 2 exits, one leading down into the house and the other going outside. She tries to force her way through the second one, but just as she does, the blind man grabs her from the other one and knocks her unconscious. Rocky wakes up in the basement, bound just like the other girl was. The blind man stands nearby as she pleads with him to release her, promising she won't reveal anything about the girl. He explains that he hadn't kept the girl there to punish or torture her. Instead, he saw it as some twisted form of justice. Since she had taken his child, he believed it was only fair she give him one in return. He had kept her there because she was carrying his baby. In his distorted reasoning, he decides that Rocky is responsible for the girl's death and must face the consequences. Meanwhile, Alex regains consciousness, making it clear that the blind man actually stabbed Money, not him. He picks up a hammer and manages to lure the dog into a room, locking it inside. On the other hand, the blind man performs his ritual burial for the dead girl and then begins heating some white substance. He tells Rocky she must now carry his child since the girl is gone. It becomes clear he was heating up some of his life lotion. At the last second, Alex rushes into the basement and strikes the blind man. He chains the man up and frees Rocky, who then beats the blind man hard, forcing him to taste some of his own fluids. Since both sides have committed serious crimes, neither can call the police. Rocky and Alex decide their only choice is to take the money and escape. As they reach the front door and Alex opens it, he suddenly gets shot by the blind man who has managed to free himself. It's already daylight outside as Rocky takes off running. The man releases his dog to chase after her. After a frantic run, Rocky reaches Money's car, but the dog catches up, making her drop the money bag outside. Once inside the car, Rocky realizes she doesn't have the keys. Thinking quickly, she cleverly traps the dog inside, but as she steps out and grabs the money bag, the blind man appears again and knocks her unconscious. He then starts dragging her back toward his house by her hair. When they arrive, she wakes up and starts apologizing to Alex's motionless body. She then notices the remote for the security system in his hand and quickly uses it. The system activates, calling 911, and the loud alarm completely disorients the blind man. Rocky seizes this opportunity, attacking him from every side until she finally shoves him down into the basement. Believing he's dead, she grabs the money and makes her escape, slipping out just before the police arrive. In the final scene, we can see Rocky sitting with her little sister at an airport bar. She watches the TV as a news anchor recounts the recent events, revealing that the blind man survived his fall. He's now seen as a hero, a war veteran who, despite being blind, managed to kill 2 burglars. He also hasn't mentioned Rocky's involvement or the missing money, knowing that if she talks to the authorities, it could cause serious trouble for him. Rocky has lost a boyfriend and a friend who always wanted more, but now she's finally free to begin a fresh chapter with her sister in California. That is, unless the mysterious blind man has different plans for her,